A slew of storms moving into the metro, and some could be severe. We'll break it all down and the timeline of it all. And breaking news this afternoon, a KCK police detective has been shot.
Right near the Kansas Speedway. Now, here's a look at where it happened, 110th and State Avenue, just off I-70. The suspect then fled in the detective's car, crashing it just blocks away.
Then the suspect carjacked another car with children inside, ditching the car in Baser. The children who were inside, okay, but the suspect fled again. And now 71 Highway at Bannister is closed except for one lane. Kansas City, Missouri police involved in a shootout with who they believe is the suspect in this whole ordeal. And there has been a massive scene out in Tonganoxie as well.
We do have team coverage for you this afternoon. Kmbc 9's Matt Fleener, Taisha Walker, Eli Rosenberg, Johnny Rollins, and Peggy Bright all covering this last few hours. And Matt Fleener, let's start with you where that KCMO shooting happened. Matt?
Hi, Kelly. This is where that chase came to an end after all of those vehicles that were involved. The vehicle that was last involved, this silver Ford Focus, which crashed into a pillar underneath 71 Highway. It was going east on Bannister. When police were giving chase to it, that suspect ditched the vehicle right there after crashing, ran up onto 71 Highway. According to police, tried to carjack another woman driving by, actually shot inside her vehicle, and police say she was shot in the shoulder. That's when police caught up to him and shot the suspect. The woman is in stable condition, taken away from the scene. The suspect, according to Kansas City, Missouri police, in stable condition, taken away as well. Quite a chaotic scene. They have 71 and Bannister shut down right now. Here's what one witness heard as all of this was going on a little earlier this afternoon.
We're sitting here terminating the light post and doing some troubleshooting on it, and I heard a pop. And then I heard some sirens and stuff and speeding cars, and then later I heard another pop. I go, Ronnie, I think they're shooting down there.
Again, this all happening about 2:30 this afternoon. A major scene. Jackson County Prosecutor Gene Peters Baker was on scene trying to figure out exactly what happened. Again, a woman that was on her way northbound on 71 Highway was shot by this suspect. According to Kansas City, Missouri police, the suspect then shot by police as well. That's the latest from 71 and Bannister. Matt Fleener, KMBC 9 News.
And of course, News Chopper 9's Johnny Rollins has been covering this all afternoon.
And Johnny, you are also over that scene right now, the scene at 71 Highway. How's it affecting traffic at this point?
Yeah, there's a suspect vehicle into the pillar, as Matt was talking about, under 71 Highway. That would be the southbound lanes of 71. You can see one lane 71 Highway southbound is getting by, no lanes on Bannister, and northbound 71 Highway is completely shut down in the triangle. That's not a real big deal because it's not really going home traffic, but take a look at 71 Highway traffic that is southbound here. Only one lane getting by, and that means it's backed up all the way to 75th Street, and really no viable alternate routes. There's 85th. They could jump off there and save a little bit of time on over to 435, but still just a mess as far as the southbound 71 is concerned. A little surprised that they have southbound open with one lane closer to the suspect vehicle when northbound remains shut down. I'm sure they have a reason, but right now it's not working for anybody very well. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
And again, multiple crime scenes in all of this. Now let's take you back to the original scene. That was 110th and State Avenue.
And that's where KMBC 9's Taisha Walker is right now. Taisha?
Laura, we are not very far from that intersection. We are actually close by the I-70 interchange. This field right behind me is where that shooting took place. I'm told that the suspect, Curtis Ayers, and the detective ended up shooting out in this field right here. The detective shot multiple times, leaving him with serious injuries. Police say Ayers then took off with that detective's car while he was down and ditched it at the intersection of 110 and State, where he took a car with young children in the back seat. So that's two cars. Police say he then dumped that second car in Bayshore, where he then carjacked a third car, a silver Ford Focus, at gunpoint, Right now, investigators are out here still investigating. They do have a dog which is sniffing, looking for any sort of evidence, but we're told that that detective was actually in this area close by the casino here on the southeast side of the Kansas Speedway when he got a call asking him to assist an initial police officer with a suspicious person case. So he then joined that first officer, and then that shooting shortly took place after. For now, live in Kansas City, Kansas, Taisha Walker, KMBC 9 News.
Okay, now we're going to switch to KMBC 9's Peggy Bright. Peggy Bright is in Basor.
And that is where one of the carjacked vehicles ended up and another was then taken. Peggy?
Well, Kelly, everything happening right back here inside of this garage. That Toyota stolen shortly after the shooting. The suspect apparently driving straight into this garage where the homeowner was. Now, the wife told a neighbor the suspect pulled a gun and threatened the homeowner. Then the resident noticed that there were 2 kids in the back seat of the Toyota. The gunman made demands of the homeowner, said he wanted money, among other things, but finally settled on driving off in the homeowner's silver Ford Focus. The kids were fine, the homeowner too. Everyone here counting their blessings that no one in this neck of the woods was hurt. We're live in Basor. Peggy Bright, KMBC 9 News.
And now we go to yet another scene, this one in Tonganoxie, and that's where we find KMBC 9's Eli Rosenberg.
And Eli, we know that that scene is starting to empty out. What's been going on there? We also have questions about the Tonganoxie school district that had been on lockdown, but it has been lifted. That's right?
That is right. In fact, as this investigation and this manhunt spanned into the hours, Tonganoxie was a city that investigators had particular interest in. The suspect in all this has strong ties to this area. So as they were looking for him, this is one of the areas they flooded. This is the scene here now, and you can see that there are a lot of different investigators, multiple police agencies here. We have watched as they've gone in and out of a duplex here in Tonganoxie. We have not seen them remove anything, and we're also getting our first sense about the suspect, Curtis Ayers, this 26-year-old, from people in town who knew him. Now, here was the scene from Chopper 9 this afternoon as investigators rushed here to Tonganoxie. And talking with these investigators, they believe the suspect was here last night. 26-year-old Curtis Ayers then got a ride from someone here in town to that casino in Kansas City, Kansas. Now investigators are trying to trace his whereabouts leading up to this afternoon's shooting. Now, we just caught up with a woman who knows Ayers, and this is what she had to say.
He was just an off guy. We didn't go over there anymore.
Gave you a bad feeling?
Yeah, he was just something about him. He was weird.
She tells me that she always got a bad vibe from this suspect to the point that she decided that she was no longer going to hang out with him. As for the scene here, I am told by investigators they are waiting for a search warrant so they can enter that duplex yet again, all part of this ongoing investigation. Live in Tonganoxie, Eli Rosenberg, KMBC 9 News.
Well, let's take a look at the suspect, Curtis Ayers, 26-year-old. He's a white male. He was spotted by Kansas City, Missouri police, and he was stopped. And police say he was armed and that police did shoot him. And we do know that Chris Ayers is listed in stable condition and in custody at this hour.
And we will continue to follow any new developments regarding the suspect and, of course, the KCK police detective who was shot. We'll keep you posted as any new information comes in. Right now, we want to switch gears to the weather, though.
Because we have another round of storms heading our way. Chief Meteorologist Brian Busby joining us now. Brian?
Take a look at clouds and radar behind me, Kelly and Laura. We have mostly cloudy, and we'll tell you when they finally clear out, looking at future scan in just a few minutes.
All right. Well, happening this week, the Kansas Supreme Court hearing arguments on whether state education budget will do. State
lawmakers had to improve funding for poorer school districts. The state Supreme Court ruled lawmakers had not designated enough money to those districts. If Kansas Supreme Court justices rule the new funding isn't good enough, the Kansas public schools are at risk of shutting down. Workers have returned to the GM Fairfax plant in Kansas City, Kansas after a 2-week-long hiatus. GM had shut down 4 plants in North America following those powerful earthquakes that rocked Japan in mid-April. That earthquake meant the plants couldn't get the parts they needed out of Japanese factories. Some 3,500 workers right here in Kansas City got 3/4 of their pay during the shutdown. They are back at work now, making the Buick LaCrosse and the Chevy Malibu.
And happening now, the winner or winners of the 6th largest Powerball Lotto still have yet to come forward.
The one winning ticket bought in New Jersey worth $429 million.
When we did hear the news, we were just so excited. I couldn't believe it. Even now, it's just pretty unbelievable.
Now, in New Jersey, a winner must come forward and identify themselves in order to collect those winnings. Of course, the owners of the 7-Eleven where that ticket was sold, they'll win big too. They get $30,000, which they say they will use to pay for a dream vacation.
Well, we are still waiting to hear more on a Kansas City, Kansas police officer's condition after being shot by the Speedway.
And of course, multiple scenes. We're gathering information from all of them right now. We'll have more for you as KMBC 9 News at 4 continues.
Let's check back in on that breaking news in Kansas City, Kansas. KMBC 9's Taisha Walker has been at 110th and State near the Speedway where the shooting of a Kansas City, Kansas detective happened. Taisha, what's the latest from there?
Right, Laura, since we last spoke, it looks as though investigators are picking up some evidence along here. You can see them over here. There's just a few cars, nothing like what we saw earlier today around 2:30 once that call came in. There were dozens of cars out here. We did see a dog sniffing not too long ago, but again, this is the area, this grassy area is where that shooting took place between the suspect Curtis Ayers and the detective. The detective was shot multiple times in this field, and we're told that the suspect then took off with the detective's car, left that car at 110th and State, took off in another car with children inside, and then ditched that car in Bayshore and took another car, a third car. But right now, they're still out here surveying, canvassing for any sort of evidence, and we will bring you updates as soon as we get them. Live in Kansas City, Kansas, Taisha Walker, KMBC 9 News.
And we will get back to her with any new developments in that case. Also tonight, a popular pacifier could be a choking hazard for your little one. Munchkin is the brand. They're recalling about 180,000 pacifiers. The company says a plastic cover that goes over the pacifier clip can come off. There have been 10 reports of that clip detaching. No injuries reported, though. Those pacifiers with clips are sold at stores like Babies R Us, Target, and Walmart. They are also sold on Amazon. You can find out if your baby's pacifier is under that recall by going to our website, kmbc.com. And the health risks of e-cigarettes still under scrutiny as the FDA steps in to regulate them.
But a new study shows the danger they pose to your children. KMBC 9's Emily Welsh explains.
As the popularity of e-cigarettes rises, so does the number of children being poisoned by them. In fact, the number of kids has skyrocketed 1,500% from 2013 to 2015. This is according to a new study published in the journal Pediatrics. The culprit is the liquid nicotine found in the vapor fluid known as e-juice. More than 90% of the young victims swallowed that fluid, and about half were less than 2 years old. Last week, the FDA announced it's taking over regulation of e-cigarettes amid health concerns for those who smoke them. A couple tips to keep your kids safe: store your e-cigarettes out of kids' sight and out of their reach, and avoid using them around children in general.
And you should also add the National Poison Control number to your hot list on your phone so that you have it at your fingertips. That number is 800-222-1222.
Well, remember this massive sinkhole that opened up on a golf course near Branson last May? Look at that. It's just ginormous. It's 70 feet wide and 40 feet deep. Well, the co-owner of the course, Johnny Morris, isn't filling it. He's actually making it bigger because Morris is a cave enthusiast and has been digging at the site, and he thinks there could be a comprehensive underground system somewhere down there, and he hopes to find it. We'll let you know.
Wow.
A cave enthusiast.
That's a sand trap.
I mean, you have to be very careful.
That's for sure. 13 or something like that.
Exactly.
You know, wow.
Exactly. So we've got storms kind of to the west.
Right.
And heavy rain for here.
Right. They're going to march to the east. I still think they may lose a little bit of their instability or a little bit of their strength by the time they get here, but it does look like we'll be in for a fairly noisy evening. And I think the last time I was able to talk to Nick Bender, he was down I-35 heading farther south and southwest, probably to get in front of those storms. Nick, what do you got?
Brian, we're in Ottawa, Kansas right now, and we're just on the eastern periphery of that severe thunderstorm watch. We're up top on the roof, our 360 cam. We're going to focus in on that right there. That's the very latest from Storm Tracker 9 in Ottawa. We'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Nick, and I know you'll be following them for sure. Farther down to the south, closer to this low, that's where we see at least some of the activity, including a tornado that I've heard is just coming in from Oklahoma. Do we have video of that? Can we go to that? There you go. This is a live picture from our sister station, probably in Oklahoma City, with the tornado down there where all the ingredients are in fact coming together. This is once again churning its way through the region right now. As far as the debris field, not seeing much, but it is at least on the ground and spinning up at least some of let me listen in to the spotter. I don't know if he was saying anything.
Now you're looking to the southeast of us, due southeast.
So he is south and east of the storm itself. Okay. And what you see there, once again, is the tornado that is on the ground. If we can get a location before the end of our newscast, we'll let you know that. Elmore City, thank you so much. So that's down in Oklahoma, and that's south of Norman. So there you see one tornado that is in fact on the ground where all the ingredients are in fact coming together. But where we are, it's going to be fairly dry, but we'll go back to that picture every once in a while. I want to focus back in on Kansas City, but every other day, a chance of some showers and thunderstorms that will be rolling through. Going back to that video once again, the live picture that's coming from KOCO. This is their live coverage and what's going on down in our sister station in Oklahoma City. We can go to a full screen, that'd be great. And what we're looking at is the tornado watch, or at least the ingredients coming closer and closer together, more so than what's happening over Kansas City. This is their live coverage as they are also out there chasing and tracking the storm itself. So it's west of I-35 according to Damon there.
Live pictures you're seeing there from Oklahoma.
So from Joy to Davis, you're in the path of the storm.
It is very hard to turn away to what's happening there. We do have breaking news, and we need to take you live to KCK. Okay. Thank you, Brian. We know you're going to keep an eye on that. We've got live pictures out of Baser right now. Crews are removing, this is the car that the suspect, who's in stable condition, is in custody, carjacked. There were 2 kids in that car.
Right, and this is the suspect accused of shooting a Kansas City, Kansas police detective earlier today near the Kansas Speedway. This is one of multiple vehicles that he actually carjacked after escaping police. And this is the one where there were 2 children actually inside. Those children are okay, though. The car abandoned there in Baser, and it is now being towed from the scene. We'll continue to stay on top of this story, bringing you the latest after this.
Good afternoon. Online hackers weaving together an elaborate heist to steal from your community. That's the focus of a KBC 9 News investigation tonight. And Haley, we understand you uncovered a case of online fraud in Independence.
That's right. All of this happening at a mom and pop store. And tonight we'll show you how they lost thousands of dollars and how you can keep it from happening to you.
And you can see that and why the U.S. Secret Service getting involved tonight at 10 here on KMBC. Laura and Kelly.
And we continue to follow breaking news. In Oklahoma, we've been showing you some live pictures out of a tornado on the ground there. Let's take a look back at those live pictures right now.
These are really phenomenal pictures of a tornado that is on the ground. You're going to hear some, and if we can hear the storm chasers, if we can pull them up, and if they're saying something to clarify exactly what's happening. But you see that twister on the ground. This is near Elmore City. What I'm seeing on Twitter is that I-35, both directions, is closed in that area, trying to get everyone safe. It is in primarily a rural area, it looks like to me, but this is a dangerous situation. Let's listen into the storm chasers.
Out across Garvin County, where that tornado warning storm was certainly, that tornado continues. We need to talk to Chris Sander. I want to bring you back on the phone right now. Chris Sander, I know you have had to reposition. That tornado will be going right over I-35. Do you still see it behind you?
Hey guys, this storm is to my east, or this tornado is. It's actually shrunk a little bit, which is very good news, but it still continues. It is about 3 miles to my east. I'm having to reposition the road I was on. As you guys saw, was completely impassable, so I am trying to reposition. This tornado does continue to shrink, though, which hopefully is going to be a good thing.
Right. Okay, well, that's good, but it looks like they will be reissuing tornado with considerable tornado, very large tornadoes. We just saw, once again, what just happened is that Chris Sander, that road became impassable. Debris all across the road. He could not get any farther, so he is now having to reposition on this storm that's out across Garvin County. But for those of us in Oklahoma City and Oklahoma City Metro, First Alert Doppler 3D shows storms going up now over more report. Just got a report of some.
Okay, so
some
that
hail.
is
There is a hail
KOCO's
Damon Lane.
meteorologist that is trying to keep everybody safe in that area. Elmore City, Joy City, all of that area. I-35 shut down in both directions because of debris.
And he mentioned that city, Moore, Oklahoma, which is just so
Yes.
snake-bitten. We've heard Moore, Oklahoma more than once getting at least in the path of a tornado. So that is within the outskirts of Oklahoma City itself. Still, as he's tracking it, it looks like it's going to be at least heading to the northeast. And in short order, it'll probably be at least impacting the southwestern suburbs of Oklahoma City.
And Brian, you said this is part of the same system that you're keeping a close eye on that's moving into our area.
Yeah, it's closer to what we call the triple point. That's where the low pressure center is, a warm front, cold front, dry line, if you will. And so there's a lot more spin down there, there's a lot more instability, there's a lot more juice for the atmosphere to play with. And so usually that's where you're going to see the better chances for the instability to generate a thunderstorm that can produce a tornado or two. That's exactly what's happening down there in Oklahoma.
All right, and we are going to have an update here in just a couple of moments of a situation in Kansas City, Kansas. A detective shot multiple times there. We'll be right back. If you are just joining us this afternoon, we are following breaking news. There was a shootout in Kansas City, Kansas. A Kansas City, Kansas detective was shot multiple times. We are waiting to release the condition of this detective out of respect for the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department. We are checking and keeping an update on this story. There was a wide manhunt for the suspect who has been caught.
Yes, at least this is a picture of the suspect, Curtis Ayers. After multiple carjackings, police in Kansas City, Missouri say they were in a shootout with someone that they do believe was Ayers.
It happened here, 71 Highway in Bannister, and you can see this is a live shot right now. It is a traffic nightmare there in both directions. One lane of southbound is open, but you can see there is a tremendous backup. Let's go up to News Chopper 9's Johnny Rollins.
Yeah, this all started. We responded over to the Speedway, the scene of a shooting. They said a Kansas City, Kansas detective had been shot, rolled up on that first scene on the south side of the Speedway, immediately found another scene about 118th and State Avenue that was just about a half mile to the west of that, then to another scene. That's where the second hijacking took place, or carjacking. Third carjacking was in Baser at that residence where that vehicle was stolen, and it was this vehicle. That was the vehicle you're looking at right now, as a matter of fact, a silver Ford Focus. Not only did they have the suspect's name, but the license plate, description of the car, and caught up with him on Bannister here. Eastbound Bannister into that bridge pillar, apparently up this embankment onto 71 Highway. That's where a fourth carjacking was attempted, and we believe it is right here where Kansas City, Missouri police officers shot that suspect. And we know that the woman in that car that was he tried to hijack was wounded as well. So still, yes, a huge traffic backup southbound 71 Highway, well beyond 75th Street to Gregory and beyond. Looking at about a half an hour, 45-minute drive time delay through there. It's pretty bad. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
And Matt Fleener is on the ground right at 71 Highway.
And we know this whole scene for several hours has been chaotic. Matt, how has all of this played out?
Yeah, exactly. It is a chaotic scene down here for sure. This scene actually still cordoned off by Kansas City, Missouri police. That silver Ford Focus Johnny Rollins was just talking about, you could see it crashed right into that pillar after coming off of 71 Highway. It was going southbound on 71 Highway, turning left onto Bannister, which is going in the eastbound direction. Then, as Johnny mentioned, the suspect went up that embankment onto 71 Highway, where he tried to carjack a woman who was driving northbound. Police say that he shot that woman in the shoulder, and that's when officers caught up to that suspect and shot him. Now, we're trying to figure out the condition of the suspect and that woman. We were told they were taken from the scene in stable condition. As of right now, we don't know any more word on how they're doing, but police still investigating, trying to figure out exactly what happened here. Jackson County Prosecutor Gene Peters Baker also still here on scene as well, as they continue to figure out the exact details of what happened about 2:30 this afternoon. Kelly and Laura?
Okay, so many different scenes, many different facets of this breaking news here locally that we're trying to keep track of.
Obviously a very tense afternoon at a lot of locations with all those crime scenes to cover, sorting everything out. We will continue to follow that, bring you the very latest on those conditions as well.
Now we want to go to Oklahoma, where there is a tornado on the ground there. And Brian, you're joining us with your expertise. We're seeing some damage, trees down at this point.
Right.
Elmore City was a city that was in the direct path of that, and we're following along with KOCO,
right.
Our sister station there.
So you see it's about an hour south of Oklahoma City. Keep you updated on the radar. Plus, once again, check in with Nick Bender and Storm Tracker 9 in just a little bit.
All right, Brian, thank you. Well, crews in Liberty continue trying to pick up the pieces after a building collapsed nearly 1 week ago. The building at 1 North Water collapsed last Tuesday. Demolition started last week. Crews worked this morning to dismantle the roof. It is a very slow and meticulous process. Johnson County commuters, relief is on the way with that difficult interchange. You talked about this last week,
yeah.
I-435 and I-35.
And today, progress made in that massive Johnson County Gateway project. KDOT has opened a lane on one of the flyover bridges from westbound I-435 to southbound I-35. The other flyover, eastbound I-435 to northbound I-35, that will open a lane later this week. Again, each step of the way, worth taking note. It affects a lot of drivers.
Little celebrations here and there just to let people know it's coming, and by the end of the year we hope to have it wide open for traffic.
You heard that right. All the work should be finished in just a few months. One more ceremonial ribbon cutting this winter will have the entire interchange opened up.
Well, a chance to work out with your favorite Sporting KC players. When to mark your calendar for yoga at the pitch.
And the Royals hoping to bounce back from a Mother's Day loss to Cleveland, where they're playing the next 4 games.
And this is another, we're dipping into our KOCO affiliate in Oklahoma City, where they have had a tornado touch down, specifically Elmore City, Oklahoma. And you can see this tornado is still active. They're still keeping track of some of the damage. No injuries to report, mostly rural areas. But like we have said, you can see where it's just really a frightful situation there. Same system that will be affecting us to a much lesser extent later on. We'll talk to Brian Busby about that.
And when we first broke in with those live pictures of very well-defined tornado on the ground, they were very dramatic pictures, and we were even hearing from storm chasers as they were actually trying to get to safety and coming across roads blocked. So we know there's debris and damage there. We'll continue to follow that and bring you the very latest.
We certainly will. Well, the Grand Avenue Bridge over I-670 is still closed tonight for repairs. The bridge passed inspection last September, but it was showing signs of stress fractures, so crews are working to fix a piece of concrete that's been chipping off the bridge. No word on when it will reopen again. Traffic on 670 is not affected. And tonight the Royals will attempt to get back on track against the Yankees.
Yeah, they dropped their game yesterday against the Indians. Tonight they're going to start a 4-game series against the Yankees in New York. First pitch tonight, 6:05. The Royals are a 500 team right now after losing 7 of their last 10. Got to turn it around, guys. And right now you can sign up for Yoga on the Pitch. It's June 8th at Children's Mercy Park. The session is an hour long and costs $50. You have to register by May 12th. Now, all the participants will get this tank top. Sporting KC players will be there as well to sign autographs.
That's awesome. Well, the First Alert Weather team traveling around the metro, meeting up with students to make them weather aware, where they're showing up this week.
And more live pictures from News Chopper 9 above the scene at 71 Highway and Bannister, a crime scene. Kmbc 9's Matt Fleener is there. And Matt, that is where police caught and apparently shot at the suspect in that KCK police detective shooting.
Kelly, that's exactly right. I want to bring your attention to what's going on right now. There is a police drone that is flying above this scene right now. Police documenting every single part of what has happened here at 71 and Bannister. Obviously some new technology that they're using to make sure they take all kinds of pictures of what has happened here. To recap, about 2:30 this afternoon, Kansas City, Missouri police saw a suspect's vehicle right down here, Ford Focus, silver Ford Focus, that crashed into that pillar underneath 71 Highway going eastbound on Bannister. Police say the suspect then went up the embankment, tried to carjack a woman on 71 northbound. Police say that he shot that woman in the shoulder, and that's when police caught up to him and shot him. They were both taken from the scene in stable condition. Police still closing down 71 in Bannister, a few lanes getting by on southbound 71, and then also eastbound Bannister as well. But police are going to be here for a little while longer, trying to figure out exactly what happened here. Kelly and Laura?
All right, we have a lot going on this Monday afternoon, and we're going to keep track of all the different scenes surrounding the shooting of a KCK police detective that happened earlier this afternoon. A lot of pieces to put together there. And then we have a tornado that is really wreaking havoc in Oklahoma.
Yeah, now I believe, two tornado warnings. And sorry for that last time I had to duck out because that's when the new information was coming into the Weather Center.
That's all right.
So we have this picture coming in from Oklahoma City. This is near Noble. Actually, let's go to Nick right now then.
This right here?
Nick.
East of Norman to Tecumseh. That's all on the southeast side of Oklahoma City.
Thanks for the insight there, sir. And I know you'll be watching our skies as well, with at least some heavy rainfall likely here.
Well, and today's a perfect example, Brian, of why you guys go and personally visit schools and teach these young children what to do in the event of a storm.
Yeah, it's trying to take some of the fear out. So all month long, the First Alert Weather Team has stopped by schools all across the metro. Here's our latest.
I love forecasting the weather. I like keeping you guys safe, telling you if it's going to rain or snow or what to expect or maybe how you should dress for the day. But I really like getting to come out and do stuff like this outside the office. I like getting to meet new people and get to meet you guys, come to schools. This is really, really fun. And I like learning
He looks like he's holding court, sitting down
and those
there.
two little girls are like, we're listening
Perhaps
to you.
future meteorologists. They looked very intense.
This was at Trailwoods Elementary School in Kansas City, Missouri. So yeah, he's holding court there. Everybody's listening. Good information I know he imparts. And he breaks it down, which is good.
And Weather Wednesdays, you're going to
Bridger Elementary School in Independence, Missouri. And that'll be another all-school assembly that we're looking forward to with a great bit of information, a lot of video clips, and good ways to keep them safe because a lot of kids are latchkey kids and are the first to get home. So even
and I got to be got to join in on your last two, and I will say it's a very dramatic presentation, and what the teachers appreciated was that you really brought it home. You made it very real life and really tied it into Kansas City, and they really appreciated that because then it made it seem more real to the kids.
A lot of hard work went into it, the writing and then the producing, and yeah, hats off to all the editors who came through with it.
Well, and we have real life in Oklahoma right now. Let's take another look, and this is the main meteorologist with KOCO who is talking to a spotter. And this is the second tornado that has been on the ground. To me, that looks possibly rain wrapped, Brian?
It's a little more difficult to see, yeah. So, with the banner there, kind of tough to say. But
can we take down that banner just for a second? Yeah, oh, there we go.
Okay, so the wall cloud is there. There's no rain, so it's a rain-free base. And if he's thinking that the whole thing is rotating, that is one problem.
That is a huge tornado,
and it's just said a debris ball. So yeah, this is on the ground and it's chewing up stuff.
What do you mean by
a debris ball? Radar only sees objects. It can't tell the difference between a plank of wood and a hailstone. So anything that reflects that it sends the radio energy to, and it bounces off as a signature, when we see that, that's usually in a different part of the hook. We can tell that that is probably trees, bricks, building material, in other words, debris that's being blown around by that couplet.
And we had seen plenty of evidence of that, at least on that earlier tornado that we saw touching down.
Yeah, a lot of trees snapping, that sort of thing.
We're going to definitely revisit this in just a few moments, but we need to also keep track of breaking news we have right here in Kansas City. This is 71 Highway at Bannister, the scene where a suspect was shot by Kansas City police. This all started in Kansas City, Kansas, with the shooting of a detective there.
New details from the scene. More details keep coming in, and we'll be back with more.